approach you at the bar not because you're not pretty, but it's because of this. I've been going to the bars every weekend with my friends, maybe for the past couple months, and I love it. I love socializing, and I'm single. And my friend and I were talking at the bar the other weekend, and we were talking about how we've never been approached by a single guy before. Like, maybe ever. Which is just insane to think about. Like, I can name a couple occurrences where they have, but it was like people from Europe, and they're like a different breed of people, okay?
So you've been telling men for how many years? Decades even? At this point, you've been telling men to not approach you, to leave you alone. When you see women at the bar, when you see women at the club, they're with their girls, they're having fun. So why would a man approach you? Why would a man walk up to you at all? You've been telling these men to leave you alone. So now that you're old enough to drink and you're old enough to go to the bar, now you want the attention?
Okay. So I feel like the culture in America is way different. Guys do not want to approach you, not because of how pretty you are or how you look, but it's really because they're scared of you. And then us women over here who are single are thinking like, we look amazing, we did our makeup, we chose the perfect outfit. Why aren't all these guys coming up to us? Even if we're not into them, why don't they just come up just to like make us feel good about ourselves? Okay, now I want you to think of the perspective of a guy.
Why would a man do that? Okay, she's about to go into the perspective of a man, so this is going to be very interesting because I'm going to be honest with you fellas. I am on the edge of my seat waiting for this perspective, this manly perspective. And yes, we are going to be going into the comments because this is going to be one of those comment deep dives that I haven't done those in a while, so we're going to do a comment deep dive on this video for sure. We got to hear this male perspective from her. This is completely insane. And the fact that she said men are scared to approach. No, men aren't scared. Men aren't scared. Men have seen what happened to other men that have approached women, and these women have lashed out. They have yelled. They have accused them of stuff. These men are playing it safe. You know, it doesn't matter how attractive you are. You can be a 20 out of 10, you know, and these guys are going to look the other way. There's no benefit for a man to risk his night out, and in a lot of cases, his life, his freedom. Some of these men get charged and get locked up for doing nothing, for just approaching. But guess what? If you're not attractive enough, you get put on some sort of watch list.
I'll never know what's in a man's head, but I have a pretty good idea from like my guy friends and going out a lot. Guys are intimidated by you, okay? They don't all have that courage or charisma or just bravery to go up to you like you have to somebody else. And on top of just being intimidated by going up to a stranger in general, you're probably surrounded by a big group of friends. And even worse if you're surrounded by your guy friends, because they're going to assume that you're dating one of them, and no one wants to go up to a girl who's surrounded by a bunch of guys, okay?
Okay, so let me just kind of get this straight here. The male perspective, okay, fellas, let's just break this down. The male perspective is that men are intimidated. She said intimidated, right? So men are intimidated by these women. What is intimidating about these women, by the way? Is there anything intimidating about this right here? I'm going to tell you my male perspective, and maybe there's other men might disagree with me, okay, because, you know, everyone has their own opinion. But when I see something like this, and when we're not even getting into the social media aspect of it, this is just if I see someone like this at a bar, at a club, whatever. For one thing, I'm not going to approach her to buy her a drink. I'm not going to waste my time trying to talk to her because, like she says, she's completely full of herself. She's completely full of herself, fellas. She even said, hey, don't worry if you're ugly. Even if you're ugly, come and approach us and just make us feel good about ourselves. She just wants someone to stroke her ego. She's has a night out with the girlies. She wants to feel pretty, and she wants the men to do all the heavy lifting for this. How about no? Okay, enjoy the night out with your friends and leave men alone. Quit begging for attention. This is how you wanted it. Okay, don't talk to us. Talk to the women that set these boundaries here, because a lot of men are looking around and they are following the rules. Okay. And now all of a sudden you want us to risk our freedoms for you just so you can feel good about yourself. No, thank you.
Okay. It's just a cock block. So now you're probably thinking, okay, we have this information, but what do we do with it? First off, I don't really think bars are the best place to really find a relationship. It's
No
great
shit.
to meet people, have fun, really get to know other people. But if you're putting all your eggs in one basket and really putting so much pressure on finding a guy that will take you seriously, it's going to be very hard. The other thing is that we always make fun of dating apps a lot, but I think the percentage is something like 60% of people now meet their significant other on the internet. Because people don't go up to other people anymore because they know they can meet you on a dating app. It's so much easier. This past Saturday, I literally went up to a group of guys and was like, do you want to play cards? I wasn't attracted to any of them, but I'm so happy I did it because I made a new group of friends and it was so much fun. And initially I thought that they weren't that fun. Like, they just seemed like they were like moping around. They all had RBFs, like whatever. And I went up to them and they ended up being the funniest group of guys ever. And I'm sure a lot of guys think of you that way too. You might have like an RBF or...
I'm going to let the Shelly shit for brains finish what she's saying here, because nothing she's saying is making any sense right now. I know, fellas, this is kind of tough, but here's the reality. Okay. This is her story. She's about to go into this. What is she talking about now? She's talking about meeting a group of guys and she judged them by how they looked, and then she got to know them and realized they were just amazing men. Hey, guess what? You met a bunch of average men, by the way. These were average dudes hanging out. A majority of men are this way. They're hanging out with the bros. They're relaxing. They're not going to be giggling, happy. They're just chilling. They're just hanging out. They're chilling. This is how guys are. And she's realizing this for the first time. This is the type of advice that gets circulated around TikTok that is, I don't know if it gets circulated so much because it's just bad, or if women actually listen to this type of stuff. Because, I mean, this has a good bit of, this has a lot of views. It has 13,000 likes. Yeah, do women want men to approach them at bars and stroke their ego? Sure. Why wouldn't a woman want that? And now you're upset because men are not going to be taking the initiative to do all these things for you. What are you going to be doing for these men? What can these men expect from you, by the way? I think that's a good question.
Just, you don't seem approachable. But little do they know how you really are. So the takeaway from this video is that guys not coming up to you out in public says nothing about you. You can literally be like Gigi Hadid and a guy's still not going to come up to you. Guys are intimidated, and it takes so much courage to go up to a girl. And a lot of guys are cheap and just don't want to buy you a drink, and they're scared of getting used for a drink, which kind of sucks, but I understand. So do not weigh your worth in whether or not people come up to you, because you are probably way more stunning and people are probably way more attracted to you than you think they are.
I really could care less what these women expect from men, especially men they're meeting in bars and in clubs. It really doesn't matter. But let's hear from the men. Let's go into the comments here. We have D-Bod, Dat Boy. He says, Sean Oakman. That's why we're terrified. Reply, I remember seeing Sean Oakman at Baylor in 2014. A lying woman stole a man's future and just walked away scot-free. So I don't know this particular incident. I do know that this happens all the time where women will lie and ruin men's futures. I don't know about that particular person, but this is not uncommon. It definitely happens. It happens a lot more than you would think. We have another commenter that says, we go out to have fun, not to get approached by men. Ring a bell? You're also a creep if they don't find you attractive. Then even when you do find one, they all feel like they have endless options, so they just play games. It's really not worth the hassle. I've been told that girls go to bars to have fun with their friends, not to be talked to by random men. And the worst thing that could happen is she says she's not interested, and then you go on with your night. Then it turns into resentment. That's why I see posts complaining about it, that men have the audacity and can't leave women alone to their own spaces. Well, here's the thing. If you approach and she denies you, just stroke her ego. Just compliment her. Just make her feel good about herself as she denies your advances. Yeah, that's perfectly fine. Women love that. Women love talking down to you and then you stroking their ego and then walking away after you buy them a drink. That's exactly what women want. Like, who wouldn't want that? Even if we're not interested, why don't you just come up, make us feel good about ourselves? That's not our job. We're on class. Exactly. Why would any man do this? I hope she goes back and watches this, but I doubt she even hears it. I'm not your entertainment for the evening, and I'm not giving free drinks just because. The entitlement is crazy. One day men are awful and gross. The next is where all the men come entertain me. Also, can't men just enjoy a night out and relax with friends? Women don't see it that way, though. If there's a group of men out on the town, going to bars, drinking, hanging out, then obviously they are out to get attention from women. They're out to approach women randomly and give them compliments and buy them drinks. They can't just be out hanging out with the bros, having some bro time. You know, women always have to be involved 24/7. We get called weirdos and creeps if you don't find it attractive. And Tabby says, well, do you tend to go for women who are out of your league? And then this other guy chimes in, victim blaming. And this is where social media comes in, is that even women like Tabby, which I don't see her picture, but there are so many women out there that think that they are 10 out of 10s. They think that they are they're the shit. And honestly, it's all these women exist. In reality, they're just like maybe average women that have been gassed up by their friends. And you've seen the video. These women are morbidly obese. They have like crazy, like it's just kind of crazy how these women think. And then they think they're 10 out of 10s. Like if you don't buy these women, you know, 200K engagement rings, and they're going to clown on you, is like, lady, you are the clown. Even if we don't find them attractive, like just hype us up. Exactly. It's demeaning to be used to fuel your ego. Exactly. They feel so entitled to male attention. No shit. Can't believe she seriously put this up. How dare you not come up to me and hype me up, Jester? I like it when she says, let's look at it from a guy's perspective, proceeds to give a girl's perspective. That's exactly what I was thinking. She said, oh, let me explain to you what it's like from a guy's perspective. And then she immediately started calling men intimidated, insecure. They don't approach because they're cheap. Did you hear that one, fellas? Men don't approach women at bars because they're cheap and they don't want to buy drinks.
I just want to sum up what dating is like right now by telling you about my friend's date she went on last night. Actually, more specifically, what this guy told her. She's never seeing this guy again for other reasons, but let me just tell you what he told her about his last relationship.
So I'm going to go ahead and start off that whenever a woman says that it's a friend went out on a date, a friend got told something by a dude, it's never a friend. It's always the woman. It's always the woman. Let's continue.
Apparently this guy was like, oh, I just got out of a 2-month situationship. Yeah, we're using that word seriously and earnestly. I just got out of a 2-month situationship that ended because we didn't really want to see other people, but I just like wasn't ready to be exclusive yet. But I was in love with her. We didn't want to see other people, but I didn't want to be exclusive, but I was in love with her. Just toss me in the river, folks. Do you guys hear yourselves? Do you hear yourselves? Do you, no, like legit, like I need you to put your thinking caps on and hear what you're saying. Why are so many of you ruining your own lives? I'm just wondering.
Here's the thing. These men do not care. Okay. Like he said, he was in a 2-month situationship. Oh, I mean, he was, you know, why buy the cow when you get the milk for free type of situation. She was probably shacking up with him, staying with him. So what's the point? You match with this guy on a dating app. So obviously he's going to be able to get back on that dating app and find someone else. Okay. These are average women, by the way. This isn't some like supermodel Nina Agdal type woman. I mean, these are just average women. Okay. They use the face filters. They got the heavy makeup on. I don't know if you've seen the face filter, but definitely, you know, multiple face filters. This is what we're doing. Okay. I'm not saying she's unattractive, but you got to think that a woman that looks like this is going to be matching with the top 10% of these dudes on these dating apps. These guys don't have to commit to you. They don't want to commit to you. They're going to tell you they just got out of a situationship and they matched with you on this dating app to get back into another situationship. They do not care. And these women fall for it. That's the craziest thing. These women fall for it. She's probably still in contact with this dude. She's probably got a date with him tonight. Again, you can never believe what women say. You have to watch their behavior. You have to watch what they do. So, you know, maybe she'll post a video. This was in February. Maybe she'll post a video later on and she'll talk about the guy that she dated that was a chronic situationship person and she fell for the trap. Who knows? It's all for content anyways, you guys. Okay, now we have a woman who is going to be asking us men a very important question. This question is super important, so you guys listen up.
This is a question for single guys or just guys in general. When you were single, or if you're single, you're in a social setting and you want to approach a girl, is it more likely for you to approach a girl that's like a 7 out of 10 or under versus a girl that's 10 out of 10? I say this all because I had a girlfriend that's like drop dead gorgeous, maybe an 11 out of 10, right? Like perfect body, amazing personality, beautiful. Guys would never talk to her. We would go.
Well, that's because these men don't care. Here's my thing. Whenever a woman calls another woman drop dead gorgeous, 10 out of 10, perfect personality, to who? Who's judging these women? A woman saying this means absolutely nothing. Now, if a guy were to tell me this, say, hey, look, you need to meet my sister. She's great personality. She's funny. She's, she takes care of her body. She takes care of herself. I would be more prone to listen to a dude try to sell me on a woman than try to listen to another woman, because it sounds like she's just talking out of her ass. A lot of women do this, by the way. No woman is an average woman. Every woman they know is a 10 out of 10, and they deserve a 10 out of 10 dude.
We'd go out. Guys never gave her the time of day, would never approach her, never talk to her. I had other friends that were definitely under a 7, maybe under a 5. Constantly, guys sending over drinks, guys coming up and approaching them. And my thought is because there's less likely they would get rejected for a girl that's a 7 out of 10 or under versus the 10 out of 10. They're afraid that if they approach 10 out of 10, maybe she'll reject them or not give them the time of day, where they're not going to close the deal there. But if they go for a 7 out of 10 or a 5 out of 10, whatever, it's more likely that they're going to give them the attention. But really, the 10 out of 10 would have given them attention if they would have just approached with confidence, kindness.
Nobody cares. But let me ask you guys something. Do you think she needs a refill on her Botox here? I can already tell, her laugh line. She probably needs to get that redone. It's dissolving. You can already tell. Now the filler here, I think she's fine for now, but eventually that will dissolve as well. She'll have to get that re-upped. It's a woman that will spend thousands of dollars getting procedures on her face, and then she'll say, okay, well, I got all these procedures. I got the filler. I got the Botox. I got the nips. I got the tucks. Now I'm a 10 out of 10. These women are 10s out of 10s because they got all these procedures done. Is this what we're doing here? Are we changing the definition again? I'm pretty sure this woman calls herself a 10 out of 10, by the way, and has absolutely no idea what she's talking about.
Being a gentleman and still been able to get her phone number or start the conversation because she never got approached. She wasn't giving like the resting bitch face or anything like that. She still was interacting with friends. She wasn't on her phone. So just really curious. Let me know in the comments. I want to know what your thought is on this.
Let's take a deep dive into the comments, fellas. We are going to be knee deep in these comments. We have Phil saying the 10 is probably too high maintenance. This is something that is immediately just a lot of men agree is they see a woman who, when she's dressed a certain way, you can tell she does her hair a certain way. She does certain things with her, just the way that she is trying to have herself be perceived is you can just tell that she is completely high maintenance. She's a headache. She's a pain in the ass. Might complain all the time, might do a lot of things that a lot of men don't agree with. So these men don't approach. It's as simple as that. We have Roll Tide Rust. He says, don't approach any. The world has changed, ladies. Absolutely right. This is definitely the correct answer. The world is different. The world has changed. Men have seen the risks, and why take a risk there's nothing in it for men. Okay, I would say it would be better for women to approach men. This is the type of situation we're in right now, where women need to approach men. If women are not approaching men, then no one's going to be getting approached at all. That's the situation here. Flacco says adult men have learned not to buy the Ferrari they can't afford, but rather the Ford they can. And Loaf says nope, rent the Ferrari once a month. True. I don't buy what I can't afford, and sure as hell don't buy something I don't like. So these men, and I had the same comments. These men are seeing these women as complete why would any man get involved? Why would any man approach a woman like this? You know why these women aren't getting approached? There's your answer. But the craziest part about all of it is that these men are probably approaching these women, but these men are not these 10 out of 10 men. These men are not fitting the bill for these women. The types of men these women want are going to be men that have probably a lot of other options and a lot of other women in their life already. That approaching a woman like that at a bar would just be, he wouldn't be at the bar anyways. Let's be real.
Girl posted a video about how we are in a single epidemic, like an overwhelmingly large amount of people who are single. yet everyone seems to be looking for love. And I'd like to add my 2 cents as to why I think that is. I think it's 3 main things. I think one, everything has to be social media approved now. It's not enough for you to find somebody that makes you happy. You also have to find someone that is going to put you in a relationship where you're able to brag about it all on social media, and that's not helpful. 2, the idea that there is going to be this perfect person who completely understands you upon meeting them, and you won't have to communicate the way you want to be treated, and you won't have to have these tough conversations, and everything will just work out perfectly. That's not helpful. And then 3, which I think is like probably the most deadly, and something that I myself am very guilty of, is that we have gotten so far into like encouraging everyone to be independent and be happy on their own, which is important. I say it all the time. It is very important. But I think that we're kind of in a point where we've overcorrected. Like, you keep seeing this rhetoric of like, oh, you don't owe people this, you don't owe people that, like, you don't have to put up with that.
So let's combine all of those 3 things, should we, fellas? I mean, I think it's only fair that we can combine everything she's saying because, you know, social media, okay, that is a good point. A lot of women do look towards social media now as sort of the validation that all their friends are on there. They want to be able to show off their new beau, their hubby, their one and only. They want to put him on blast on social media so all these other women can be jealous. And then we look at the second point she stated was that women are always holding out for the perfect man. They're always looking for that perfect guy. I don't really see men doing this a whole lot. I think a man finds a good woman, a pleasant woman to be around, a woman that takes care of herself, takes care of her mind, is attentive to his needs, and does what, you know, he likes being done. He will try to keep that woman. I've seen this happen a few times. So that's not I mean, that's something that still happens. Women, on the other hand, they're always looking for their next big payday, their next big jump, their next big re-up. They want those dudes that are going to be the super attractive ones, or even if they're with an attractive guy, they're gonna be looking for a guy that makes more money or does this other stuff. So it's always they're always looking for that next come up. I don't really see men doing this, and actually I don't really see men being able to do this. There might be a small percentage of men out there that can do this, but I'm gonna be honest with you, average men cannot do this. They don't have the options to do this in a lot of cases. So, you know, when you look at it that way, then yeah, these women are they're out of control.
Like, you keep seeing this rhetoric of like, oh, you don't owe people this, you don't owe people that, like, you don't have to put up with that. And I think that you guys are missing the fact that, like, when you are in a relationship with someone, even if it's not romantic, even in a friendship, there are going to be aspects of this relationship that are not necessarily pleasant all the time. And the solution can't always be, well, never mind, I'm just gonna be single, I'm just gonna be by myself, or let's just go no contact, let's just not even be friends anymore. That's not the solution. Everything cannot be solved by, oh, I'll just be by myself and let's just not do this anymore. That's not how you stay in a relationship. Yes, you do need to be independent. Yes, you need to get to a place where you are happy on your own. But if you want to be in a relationship, it is going to come with tough decisions, and decisions that will come where you could make the choice to say, I'm just going to be single. Let's just not try anymore. Or you could compromise and be patient and be forgiving. Like, being in a relationship of any sort, again, not even romantic, being in any sort of relationship is going to cause you to have some sort of a conflict. And you can't solve conflict if your very first or last answer is to just say, let's forget it. Let's just split up. That's not how you stay together. I'm glad and I'm grateful that society, and women specifically, really women, have moved past the point of needing to be in a relationship because, like, if you weren't attached to a man, then you could not provide for yourself. I'm glad for that. But the reason why your grandparents and all of them stayed together was because they had to stay together and they didn't have any choice. And that it's great that we're not in that anymore. But I do think in order to maintain a long-term partnership, especially someone you want to be with for the absolute rest of your life, you do need to have a mindset of like, okay, I'm going to be in this.
Women don't have that mindset anymore. Women are not devoted to their husbands or devoted to relationships anymore. And it is because of social media. I blame social media 100%. It gives a lot of random men easy access to these women, where in a lot of situations, these women would not have access to these men. Also, she brings up a good point. Back in her grandparents' time, they stayed together because they had to, or they didn't have any options and stuff. If you ask me, I think that the numbers of options some women have on dating apps and on social media, I think that is ruining in a lot of situations now. If the situation was reversed, I don't know if men would act the same way, but that situation will never happen because when it comes to the, relationship marketplace, men are the ones that lock that down. But when it comes to more of the physical nature, women are the holders of that. They're the holders of the bedroom. Obviously, they're going to be posting their bodies online. They'll be getting the comments from random men and stuff like this. The choices, the options for these women are through the roof at this point. And this is why a lot of men are seeing women entertain men in their comment sections, these men on their TikToks, on their social media. So why would these men waste their time? Why would they get involved with a woman that is going to be entertaining all these other men? Men do not find that attractive. Women find that attractive. Women like it when other women want what they have. Like it's this kind of this game with them. You know, they like the competition. They like all this stuff. Men do not like that. Men like a woman that is theirs, that they can come home to, that they don't have to worry about her playing out in the streets with other random dudes blowing her back out. This is what men want. They want that security in their woman, in their relationship. They want that honesty. And a lot of men do not see that anymore. They've been hurt in the past. So they're not going to be taking risks with this type of stuff. So yeah, singleness epidemic, call it whatever you want, but I think men are just fed up with all the bullshit.
And leaving and being by myself is not an option. But when everybody is so quick to say, let's just give up, throw my hands up and walk away, you can't stay together that way. That doesn't make any sense. And again, this is something that I'm guilty of. I've talked about this multiple times. Like, I'm the very first person to throw my hands up and say, just don't call me no more. Leave me alone. But again, that's not how you stay in a relationship. And I think that a lot of us are at that place, both men and women, where we have decided it's easier to just be by myself. And yes, it is easier in a lot of ways for you to be by yourself, but that doesn't mean that that is the answer, especially since there's only so much growing and self-development and healing that you can do when you're by yourself. Once you get to a certain point, you need someone there to reflect you back to you. You need someone to show you your shortcomings. You need somebody to show you the things in you that still need to be healed. So being single and being alone and just giving up on having relationships as soon as they get tough is not the answer. And I really do think that is why we're in such an epidemic.
That is the answer for a lot of these men, and that's the only answer. Okay, these men, again, I'm speaking for average men here. She has, how much of this video is left? There's not that much videos left. I think she's made her point. But here's the thing. These men are completely done. These men are completely done with dating because the options that are out there for them are options that will do two things. It will either ruin them financially, so they're getting involved with women that they are able to secure because of the size of their bank account. So they're ruined financially. They have been through all this, so they are not trying to get involved with women after that point. And then there's the men who have seen what's been happening. They've seen the types of women that are out here. So they are looking for a very, very specific type of woman, a woman that isn't constantly on social media, a woman that isn't constantly looking for validation from other men. And they will have no problem approaching that woman, spending time with that woman when they find her, but she's nowhere to be found. She is nowhere to be found. Every single woman is on social media today. They have their 304 diaries. They've been on these follow this journey while I date 5 random men a week for 2 years and see if I can find a husband. So men do not want to be involved in all this. How does that benefit a man getting involved with a woman with that much trauma? Let me know what you guys think, though. Leave me a comment down below. Go ahead and subscribe. If you are new around here, hit that subscribe button. Hit the notifications to get these new videos. Anyway, I am out of here. I'm going to go get me a cup of coffee. I will catch you guys later. Rat Boy out.